Hey friend, what I want to chat today about is the emotion of money. Um, hmm. Abundance is a question of spirit. So, the important piece here to understand is that nothing's outside of you. There is absolutely zero that is outside of you. You are the author, you are the book, you are the publisher. Um, you're the paper that the book is written on. You are it all. So I just want to show you what I see in the body graph. So when I look at money or I think about money, um, there's many places in the body graph because we are meant to be living on this material plane. And money is just an object. Money is just an exchange, a currency, and so are we. We're exchanging for this perceived value. So don't get so caught up in it. Relax into the fact that there is nothing outside of you. So when I look at this 55th trait or gate that sits in the emotional intelligence or the solar plex, and then take a look at the stock market. Here we have the emotional waves that happen through the emotional solar plex, through this emotional intelligence. And for the 55th trait, the emotional wave kind of cruises along and then gets really excited, and then cruises along and then falls down, and then cruises along and then same thing. It spikes up and down, and then for the most part looks fairly stable until it peaks. And then you take a look at all the rest of them. And really, if you were to pull up the stock market, pull up 10 or 15 stocks, this is what you're going to see. And what is the stock? What is that ticker symbol or the not the ticker symbol, the graph? What is it telling you? What it's telling you is, where is the spirit in that particular company or commodity or ETF or sector or country or in their currency? It's really telling you what is the spirit behind it. And here's the shitty part, shitty or shady, whatever you want to call it, is that there's so many times that the emotions of people are being hijacked and there's falsified information so that these emotions place that stock in a higher emotional state than really what it should be. So just pay attention to that. I was having a good conversation with a client the other day, and really this is what we were talking about. We were talking about our ability. She and I have the 50th trait, and the quality of that is corruption. So yeah, I have some corrupt values, and people would probably, their toes would curl up to know the experiences I've had in my life. However, they were just experiences, and I don't judge myself based off of those experiences. However, I also use that ability to see the corruption that's happening in this world. And there's a ginormous amount. However, I want you to take a look at the 55th trait, and abundance is strictly a question of spirit. And when we look at each one of these lines, so look at each one of the qualities. So if this is defined in your body graph, check out the quality that you bring behind this. And if it isn't, just pay attention to all these different qualities that show up in our world. That's what the keynotes are telling you. Okay, that's what the keynotes of every line of every quality, every gate, every trait, every function, every center, every stream. Understand that all of these keynotes are life. And some of us have that quality or gate or trait. It's in our energy field. Others of us are learning about it. And for me, I'm actually provoking. I have the 39th trait. So I'm provoking people's spirits. Some people can hear me, some people can't. Some people get pissed off. I get all kinds of YouTube information, and some people can only listen to me for a very brief period of time. And then I've pissed them off, or they're like, oh, she's full of shit, and they walk away. Well, I've poked something in their spirit. So first line, it's all about cooperation. Second line, distrust. Isn't that interesting? Abundance and distrust, spirit and distrust. So I want you to play around with these keynotes and see where you're at. Innocence, assimilation, growth, selfishness. We are on the material plane, people. We are on the material plane. So what I hope is that everybody grabs the definitive book from the IHDS. That's the information that Ra has written, and that's his information is who I follow. There's a couple of his students from early years that have broke off and done their own thing, but I still follow Ra's information. And what happens here in this trait is there's this fear and there's this nervousness about emptiness. So it's like, I'll never have my spirit. My spirit's totally broken. I feel completely empty. There's of course this fear there, and there's this nervousness, and it's impossible for you to be severed from your soul or any of that. Just know that it's always going to be the shadow or the distraction that's just pulling you off game. But your soul's always there. Your spirit's just waiting. It's just waiting. So, of course, where do we witness this? We witness this in the stock market. This is the trait of eating disorders. So if you don't have it, that could be a possibility. And if you do have it, it can be a possibility. Because remember, this is all a duality. And none of this, all of this information is information. It's all about strategy and authority, strategy and authority. So emotional breakdowns can happen here, right? Because there's this, my spirit has been broken. I can't pick up the pieces. My emotional wave is way down. I'm very upset, blah, blah, blah. And then there's emotional breakdowns around this. And I'm not saying if you've had an emotional breakdown that that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying it's an experience that you've had or are having. And your spirit is just sitting there waiting. Remember, this is the emotional system. It's waiting. It's waiting. And it's waiting. So in the future, understand that this trait is taking an adjustment. And there's going to be a mutation and there's going to be a breakdown that happens here. And what you're going to notice is that the motor piece of the emotional intelligence is breaking away, and it is going to be more of just an awareness piece. So, let's just take a look at these lines, okay? I'm going to read these to you right out of the, it's called the Rave I Ching. These are Ra's words. So cooperation is the potential to find spirit through cooperation with powerful forces. I'm just going to read you the exaltation. I'm not going to worry about the detriment. Distrust. Emotional stability and the strength of the spirit is dependent on being trusted by others. Interesting, right? Abundance hampered by slander or gossip. So just breathe these in. Just breathe these in, take these in, and look at how they play out in our world. Innocence, the emotional possibility to recognize that despite one's best efforts, failure is possible and does not need to affect the spirit. So know that, like, third line, innocence. Third line people. I'm one of these people. I'm a 1-3. Like failure, mistakes, trial and error, it is in the fabric of my being. And without mistakes, errors, or failures, I can't grow. There is no spirit in that. And I can just innocently sit in, oh yeah, I fucked up. I'm okay. It's okay. Assimilation. The possible spirit that comes when emotional awareness and energy are balanced and principled. So what's it asking you? You know, fourth line. Fourth line's very rigid. It can kind of move both ways. It can go to the top of the towards the top of the hexagram, but it can also dabble with the bottom hexagram. So it's like this, it's like this bridge, like the juxtaposed incarnation crosses. So there's a bridge happening here. So it's saying, you know, be balanced and be principled. And then we have growth. The emotional strength and spirit deprived from positions of power. And get out of your head what power means. The conditioned construct of power is immediately people go to, oh, the queen or the CEO or rich people or blah, blah, blah. No, those are the people conditioning others. The power lies within you. How do you grow? By nurturing your own spirit, by trusting yourself, by innocently sitting in your spirit, by cooperating with your higher self. Because, of course, this is an inside game. And then we bond with others in this illusion of separateness. And sometimes I speak and I think, oh God, I probably just lost them there. There is nothing outside of you. And then selfishness. So the possibility of finding the spirit through materialization or materialism, sorry. So, of course, there is that possibility. And know that the 6th hexagram is always looking into the future. It's always moving into the future. And the next gate that happens in the mandala is the 37th gate. And what's the 37th gate all about? It's about family and friends, and it's tribal. And what does tribal circuitry require? It requires food. It requires shelter. And it requires abundance. So, of course, the 6th line is looking towards how do we become material? Because if I don't have enough, it's impossible for me to give. This is where, Ra speaks about David's cup, where if your cup isn't full and running over, there's nothing to give to people. So we look at some people that have more than enough and we think, oh, those bastards are greedy. And in some cases, guess what? That's probably the case. But in other situations, there is some really magnificent people in the world that, maybe they're giving. They are giving a hand up, and we forget about that. We have been in this cross of planning, and that cross of planning has conditioned us to believe that we should be taking handouts. That the government should be handing out to us, that big business should be handing out to us, that big pharma should be handing out to us, because they're making billions and millions and gazillions of dollars. But the truth of the fact is, you can't give if there's nothing there. And I'm not saying that there isn't anything there in their coffers, but in their spirit, is there anything there to give? So when and I don't know if I've said this in any of my videos, but it's okay to be selfish, because selfish is self first, and you play a part. Your piece of the puzzle is required. So you need to take care of yourself, and your spirit needs to be, fulfilled and happy and joyous and empowered, so that you can give to your family, so that you can support your tribe. Nothing in the body graph, not one thing in the body graph is on its own. Okay, there's nothing that's separate. It all plays a part. Now, whether or not you have this defined, there is a, abundance is strictly a question of spirit. So if you're in a victim story and you feel as though your cup is empty, just take a look at that. Begin to live life through strategy and authority so that your spirit can be rebuilt. I do a shit ton of videos about a lot of things, and I see so much in our world, and I go, oh, well, what's this, this piece of design or that piece of human design or whatever. I see it all. I see it in every day when I interact with people, on the news, all kinds. I see it everywhere. And I do watch the mainstream media because I want to see exactly how they're conditioning people. And it is sad. It is really, really sad, because they're trying to strip away our power every day, our hijacked perceptions. And what design is teaching is take back your power and stand in your own self-actualization. So what I love is I have this great mentorship program, and this mentorship program takes you right from soup to nuts, right from decision making. We walk through every piece of the design. We walk through the primary health system, and we walk through the psychology piece, and we walk through how you profit, and we walk through like everything. So that when you step out at the end, you actually have your own marketing package, you know how you best are going to profit in this world, and then you can create your business around you. It's about us taking back our power. And we do that by making decisions correctly through our own strategy and our own inner authority. And then instead of letting the conditioning beat us down, we use that conditioning for wisdom. And then, this is what I love, is that we then influence others in a healthy way so that there's a whole win-win situation. So that a feeling of abundance, that spirit is, filled over the brim for everybody. And yes and no, it's about money, but it's not. Because money is just money's an outside representation. It's about what's on the inside, what is happening with your spirit. That's really what it's about. So I probably went around a couple loops there and kind of took you back and then took you out and then took you back. There's nothing outside of yourself. So if your perception's being hijacked and you believe that your value is based off of your bank account, is based off of your stuff, think again. It's about your spirit. And understand, now I'm going to say, materialism is about safety, shelter, food, support. And in nowhere did you hear me say bank account. So just breathe into that. Just know that there's nothing outside of yourself. And here's a wonderful I'll give you the intro to my next one of my next videos. You are the template of the future. And that comes from one of my classmates who is also who's an evaluator. I've spoke about one evaluator. Now I'm going to speak about another one, and his name is Brad Watson. And he is like, wow. And that was a quote from him. You are the template of the future. So breathe into that. And then just anticipate what I'm going to throw together for that. All right. Thank you.